Hey, everybody, welcome back to another Motivation Monday podcast for Monday, January 8th, 2018. Today, the big thing that I wanted to talk about was how to structure your practice time. And one of the ideas that I've had recently that's been working out really well for me to make your practicing more effective and fruitful. Now, I don't know if a lot of you have thought about the order in which you practice your material and how that affects your effectiveness in the short period of time that we all have to practice every day. I mean, it'd be nice if we all had 8 hours, but so few of us have that kind of time that we really have to be efficient and thoughtful about the way that we practice to get the most out of a short period of time that we're working with. So, the concept today is going to be front loading your practice time. And what I mean by that is at the beginning of your practice session, practicing the hardest stuff. The thing that burns the most brain cells comes at the very beginning of your practice time. Now, this is really effective because our concentration drops off the longer that we practice. And a lot of studies have shown that the most effective practice time for anything that you're doing, whether it be music or whatever else in your life that requires a lot of concentration, is earlier in the day. So it goes without saying that that can also ring true for your practice time. Now, if you can't practice early in the day, that's totally fine. Just know that your cognitive abilities, your ability to learn, your ability to retain information gets slightly lower as the day goes on, right? So in the evening, we all have that feeling of just kind of wanting to maybe sit on the couch and vegetate by watching some TV or doing any of the number of things we do to give our brain a rest. But that's fine. If you need to practice, I went through a long stretch of time where I was working a job where the only time I could practice was when I got home. And it worked out. It worked out totally fine, but I really had to think about the way that I structured my time. So if you are most fresh in the morning at the beginning of the day, then it also makes sense that your brain is going to function the best earlier on in your practice routine. So that's where we get the concept of front loading our practice routine. That means pick the thing that's going to be the most difficult and do that right at the beginning of your practice session. So let's say that I'm going to work on giant steps changes, right? It's just that's the most difficult thing I can think of right now. Or if I'm going to be working on rhythm changes in a really, really difficult key, I'm going to do that right at the beginning of my practice session when I'm not tired, when my brain is still ready to process a multitude of information and is not rebelling against me and saying, we don't want to do this right now. So by structuring your practice time in this manner, I'll give you an example of what I do. So I'll start off by maybe working on some vocabulary in all 12 keys and then putting it into an actual tune. All right. This is really effective for me. And then I start to move into stuff that requires less and less brain power as my practice session goes on. So let's say I have 2 hours to practice today. I'm going to spend the first hour doing the most intense stuff, the stuff that requires no distractions, stuff that requires me to be 100% invested in what I'm doing. Then as my practice day goes on, I will get easier and easier. And to give you an idea, I usually finish up my practice sessions with technique work, stuff that I can kind of do almost mindlessly. Of course, no part of your practice session should be mindless, but it requires a heck of a lot less brain power to practice some scales or etudes or finger exercises. That's going to be a heck of a lot easier for me than trying to figure out a very complicated piece of vocabulary in all 12 keys, or do something like playing over giant steps or playing over countdown or rhythm changes in a weird key, or something that's really going to be 100% of my brain power concentrated on what I'm doing. Now, I've gone over this in previous Monday Motivation podcasts where maybe at the end of the day when I'm working on my technique stuff, I'm like watching the news or reading the newspaper or reading a blog while I'm practicing. So that just goes to show you that that is a little bit more mindless than what I was doing at the beginning of my practice routine. But the stuff that I'm doing at the beginning, I'm 100% laser focused on. No distractions. I leave my phone in the other room. I turn off anything that's going to cause me to go in another direction and take my brain out of what I'm doing. And I would say that this has been one of the best things I've done over the past couple of years is doing this, and I retain it just so much more. Because when I first pick up my horn in the morning or in the afternoon or whenever, that is when I'm ready to go. I'm the most enthusiastic, I'm the most concentrated, I'm the most everything that's going to get stuff done. So I don't know if you've thought about this before, but it might be something to add to your toolbox. And if you find that you are sort of treading water with your practicing, where you're working on a bunch of stuff, but none of it seems to make its way into your playing, try this. See if it works. If it doesn't, maybe your brain works in a different way where you actually pick up steam as you go along. But I would guess that the majority of people out there, this is going to be a really, really good thing for you and something that may provide you with a couple of breakthroughs in your practicing. So let me know what you think. Is this something that you already do? Is this something that you want to start doing? Am I completely full of crap? What's the deal? Let me know your thoughts and we can have a discussion about it. All right, we'll see you on Friday with a brand new episode on major modes. Hope everybody's having a good 2018 so far, staying warm, all that good stuff. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good one, everybody.